This is Dolores Cannon with the Metaphysical Hour again. And tonight is live. You know, I've been traveling so much that they've been using shows out of the archives. And I don't have a guest tonight, so I'll just be talking about some things that are going to be going on in my life and the different things that are coming up here anyway. But boy, to me, time is really speeding up. It's really going very fast. I don't know if you're experiencing the same things or not. People are telling me they are. But every time I go on a trip, when I come back, the whole month has evaporated. And it's a whole new month. Here we are in June, and it seems to me like I had just got back from Australia and New Zealand in November. The whole year has just been evaporating. I've been doing so many classes and traveling. Well, the first thing I just wanted to tell you that I've done 4 classes in this month alone. And we're getting more and more people signing up. I know I've trained over 100 people in just this 1 month alone. The last one you knew about, anyway, was when I gave the class at the Northern New Mexico College in Santa Fe. And that I was very proud of because they gave the class, everyone who took the class, 1.5 college credits for it, for the 3-day class. And they are going to continue this program where they're the only college in the United States that has a 4-year course in natural medicine and alternative healing. And they're teaching homeopathy, aromatherapy, acupuncture, and so they wanted me to be a part of it with my hypnosis classes. Anyone who takes the entire 4-year course is going to get a BS, a Bachelor of Science. And they're the only ones in the United States that are doing this. So I was very proud to have been asked to be a part of this. And they want me to come back next year, so I guess I'll be part of the curriculum now that they'll be providing this every year. But I think that's pretty good that you can get a degree in natural medicine and also that you can get a BS if you take the entire 4 years. I told them they are real groundbreakers in this. And I suspect that many of the other colleges, when they get wind of what they're doing, are probably going to be offering the same kind of a program. Because that's the way I see things going right now. It's as though we're in the underground. That's no longer the underground, because all of this natural medicine and natural healing is becoming more and more popular, and it is bubbling more and more to the surface. So I don't think they're going to be able to hold us down much longer. And those of you who listen to the show regularly know that I do have doctors that come on the show and different medical practitioners who are giving groundbreaking advancements they are making in this field. And I think it's going to be the alternative route rather than going the medicine and the drugs and the surgery. But as you all know, my methods that I use with my hypnosis are very much tied in with the healing. And that's why they want me to be teaching this method. Well, after I finished there, I went to Atlanta and gave a class there. And then the 3rd week, I had to give a class. I think I had a show in between there. Very hard to keep up with myself nowadays. But then I had a class in Newark, up in Newark, New Jersey. And that one turned out very good also. But then I got home. I only had 2 days to turn around and go out to California. So there within the last 2 weeks, I've been on both coasts, New Jersey and then all the way out to San Jose. I just had time to come home, get my hair fixed, wash my clothes, pack the suitcase, and get back on the airplane out to San Jose. And both of those classes have been very good. The one I just finished in San Jose was an excellent class. And that's all I'm going to be doing right now, because I'm going to be focusing on our conference we're going to be having next week. So I'm not sitting home doing nothing, but at least I'm not on an airplane. But the whole month of April and May, have just evaporated into the wind. But I'm doing classes now all over the world, and I do want to say something about that because I was talking to some people in England today on the telephone. I'm giving a class in London when I go over to Europe in August. And a lot of them still have the idea that they have to be certified hypnotherapists to take my class. And they have to have training and have been working with people for a year. That was the rules that I set up in the very beginning when I first started giving the classes 6 years ago. Because at that time, I didn't think anyone would be able to understand my... Okay, everybody, the gremlins are playing with our phone lines again. I know it was, a few months ago they got in there, and they kept disrupting the line throughout the show about 3 or 4 times until they put it on a different line. And I never know until here, all of a sudden, the phone just comes on, like to tell you you're disconnected. So they said we got us on a secure line now, so maybe it won't be disrupted anymore throughout the show. Let's hope not, anyway. But I'm trying to remember where I was, because I never know where I was disconnected from. I know I was talking about the classes, and it was a very important point that I wanted to bring up, because I was speaking to some people in England today, and I'm going to be giving a class in London in August. And some of these people still have the idea that you have to be a certified hypnotherapist and have been working in this type of work for at least a year to take my class. And that's not true, because I've been doing it now 6 years. In the beginning, that was my qualifications, because I thought that nobody could understand it, my methods, unless they had a background in basic hypnosis in order to understand what I'm doing, because what I'm doing goes way beyond the basic hypnosis, and it's very much advanced. So this is what I thought. But after about 2 or 3 classes, I began getting people who were begging me, saying, please let me take the class. I'm not qualified as a hypnotherapist, but I really want to learn how to do this. So we began expanding the qualifications. So a lot of the people who were into Reiki and other healing modalities, a lot of them work with energy. There's a lot with energy healing and different things like that, and they're very much into the metaphysical part. But there were many others who just had no training at all, but said they wanted to learn this because they want to help people. So that's when I began letting some of them into the classes. And I found some of these people are doing better than the ones who were certified hypnotherapists. Now, I've not got anything against those who have been practicing for a long time, but many times that seems to be holding them back. The reason why is because if you've been practicing hypnosis for several years, you were taught a certain way. And a lot of them say, you have to do it this way, you cannot alter it, you can't change it, you must do it word for word the way we teach you. And a lot of them are very much entrenched in that. And when I did my method, I found out that you can change the rules. You can bend it. You can eliminate things. You can add things as long as it is effective and as long as it doesn't harm the person you're working with. That's why my method is totally different. And a lot of times when I do the class, I will tell the people, if you're already practicing, I want you to just forget everything you've been taught, because you're going to be learning a totally different method. And many of them have difficulty changing and switching over to something that is different, opening their mind to that this is maybe a different way to look at it. So that's when I began thinking, the people who were wanting in so badly, I said, if they have a passion for this, if they really want to help people, if they really want to do this, I have found they are better because they don't have to unlearn anything. They can do it exactly the way I show them, and they're able to have better results because they have nothing to hold them back, nothing to say, this is the only way to do it. Because in my 3-day class, I go step by step through the whole procedure. And one thing people have told me that I teach that the other hypnosis methods have never even approached, I explain why you're doing what you're doing, what hypnosis really is. It's really so very, very simple. It's not mysterious, as they make it have to be. They say you must do it this one certain way. It is very, very simple. And I explain why it works and how the words you use, the effect they have on people. Once the person taking the class understands why they are doing what they're doing, it's easy for them then to be able to go with the flow and change things if they think it needs to be, add things. And it's much easier on those who are taking the class, and they said they're having remarkable results. Because in the beginning, I've been doing hypnosis for 40 years, and I've been doing the past life regression for 30 years. So I've had 30 years to perfect this technique. And it's an evolving thing. I am still learning from what I am doing. So I don't think there's ever going to come a time when I can say I know it all, because I don't. But in the very beginning, I started out with the very basic stuff, the way back, the things that aren't even used anymore. I hope they're not used anymore. But then as I got into the past life therapy, I found out there's a lot of the methods, the things that they teach you that are unnecessary. They're time-consuming. They serve no purpose at all. And so those are the things I said, why can't I just drop that and add something else here that is easier and quicker? So that is what I've been teaching in my class, doing it this other way that I've evolved and been using for 30 years, and it is very, very effective. I've done thousands and thousands of clients, so I've had plenty of time to see what works and what doesn't work. But the main thing that I've learned, and this is why I'm connected now with the alternative healing people all over the world, I found that by following my technique, we can have instantaneous healings. And to me, that is remarkable because it's like a miracle. I see miracles performed in my office every day, and it is truly remarkable. Of course, when I work in England and other countries, in some places, they'll say, we can't, and they do in the advertising for the class, they say we can't say instantaneous healing. They won't allow us to do that, even though that's what it is, that's what happens. They say we have to say instantaneous relief. I said, well, however you want to put it, I'm still going to teach you the way it's done. And I've had doctors and psychiatrists taking my class all over the world, and they're amazed because they said, this is really unique, and it's something we can really use and combine with our practices. If they're open to the idea of past life regressions and the mind making the body ill, and that we can heal ourselves once we find out the cause. But I wanted to bring this up because the classes are growing, and I think there's people out there who would like to take it, but they were uncertain because of these qualifications they'd heard about. If somebody has a passion, they really want to learn this, then they can come to the class. There's no guarantee everyone is going to learn, to be able to do it. I don't think anybody can take any kind of a class and guarantee that everyone in the class will be able to do it. That's the way human nature is. But still, there's always people in the class who go forward and are able to perform the same kind of things that I do. I get emails from these people all over the world about what is happening with them. And they email me when they have problem cases, and we try to help them with that also. But I finished these 4 classes. The next class is going to be in Arkansas, and that is in July, after I get through this conference we're doing next week. I'm home for a little while anyway. Then the next class is here in Fayetteville, Arkansas. That's the nearest place to where I live. And that one, we're already getting people signing up for it. It's the Scallion Inn in Fayetteville. Now, all of these classes I'm going to mention, you can find out more about them on our website. We have all of the dates and the people who are running it, but we do like you to contact our office if you want to do the class, because we just ask for a deposit, and the rest of the money can be paid at the door. The classes are 3 days, 9 to 5, and they're $500 for the 3-day class. And all I ask is a $100 deposit, and the rest can be paid when the person gets there. But the next class is going to be in July in Fayetteville, Arkansas. Then I'll be going to Montreal the last 2 weeks in July. I've got to do a conference up there in Montreal, and I also am working with the Swamis at the ashram at Balmoral, at their headquarters of the Sivananda ashrams in Montreal. I'll be working there and doing some lectures. Then I'm having a class in Montreal. So if anybody's interested in that one too, you can contact us. Some people that couldn't make the class in Newark wanted to know where the next one would be, and I said for them, the one in Montreal will be the closest. But then I go out of the country, and I'll be going in August. I'll be all over Europe, and I will do a class in London. I believe it's the 5th or something. But you can find out the dates for sure on the website. In London, it'll be held at the Theosophical Society. And I will tell you, I've been told now people all over the world are listening to this broadcast. The one in London, this is going to be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, because the value of the dollar is so low right now. It's so bad that you're getting the class for the cheapest it will probably ever be in England, because the $500 equivalent for U.S. comes out to 250 pounds. And that is, it's never going to be that low again unless the dollar just drops all the way through the floor. But those who are interested in that, I wish they would call us, because we're trying to get that class as full as we can. And it'll be at the Theosophical Society in London, because it'll never be this low again, and I don't know if I'll ever give a class in London again. I've got so many other things on my plate. So many other things are happening, I don't even know when I'll be able to return to Europe. So if you're interested in the London class, please contact our office. And I'll be going to Russia. In Moscow, I'm going to be doing what I call an advanced class. I'll be speaking to the ones who have already taken my class. There's a whole group of doctors there who have taken it. And I'm going to be meeting with them to see if they have any problems working out the technique. Also in Moscow, I'm going to be speaking at an international conference on natural healing. So I've got a lot going on, and then I'll be coming back. I'll be in Paris, I'll be in Austria before I get back through England. But all of my itinerary should be on my website. But that's an important class that anybody over there, we're trying to let the people know on the continent, too. If you want to take it, I don't know when I'll return, and this is as low as it's ever going to be compared to the U.S. dollar and the pound price right now. Right, and then I will have my next class is going to be in Florida in September, and that's also on the website. Then I'll be going to China in, the end of, the end of October. I head out across the ocean, and I'll be giving a class in Maui in Hawaii. I do that so I can stop off and break the trip down. I don't like those long flights over the ocean. So we're giving a class in Maui, in Hawaii. That's the end of October. Then I'll be headed over to Hong Kong, Taiwan, those areas. And I'll have a class in Hong Kong when I get over there. So that's going to be a lot this year. After I do Hong Kong, Taiwan, I'll be headed back down into Australia before I come home. I'll be doing another class in Perth. That was very well received. We had a huge amount of people, and they want me to do an advanced class there. So I'm going to meet with the ones who have taken my class last year. They are having remarkable results with the healing part of this type of hypnosis. Then they've talked me into doing a class in Sydney. I got so many calls, people say, why only Perth? The main reason I wanted to get back, I didn't want to stay over there 2 months like I did before. So I said, they've talked me into it, I'm going to do a class in Sydney. I'm making the full circle, and then I'll be back in New Zealand doing a class again in Wellington. Plus, all along the way, I'll be doing lectures and many different things. So I should be back home. I think this is going to take the whole month of November. Then I'll be back here after that. But anybody who is interested in any of these classes, in any of these countries or any of these states, please notify our office because we want to fill these up. I have a lot of things going on for next year, and it's uncertain even how many classes I'll be able to give because my life is going in many different directions. But if you go on the website at Ozark Mountain Publishing is the name of my company, and it's OZARKMT.com, the abbreviation for mountain. Those of you in the other countries, it's OZARKMT.com. And you'll be able to get all the details, and you can call the office and find out if you want to be involved in all of this. The 800 number from my office, for those in the States, it's 1-800-935-0045. So, I'm trying to push this because, like I said, everything is changing. There's a whole lot more things going on. And I'll be telling you about as time goes on anyway. But I was really surprised at the Newark class and the San Jose class. We had many people saying they do listen to this show. Some of them have said they have downloaded all the archives of all the shows I've ever done. That's amazing to me because I sit here in my living room staring at the wall, talking to the speakerphone and not knowing who is out there. But it makes me feel good that there are people listening, and I try to give as much information as I can. All right, I wanted to get that out of the way because these classes are getting larger, and to me it's very important to pass this method on to as many people as I can. Now I want to talk about the conference that's coming up next week. My company does this. This is our third year to do it. We mostly do it to promote a lot of our new authors. When we have new authors signing on with the company, it's a good way for them to get their feet wet and to be able to get out and talk about their books and get their first opportunity at this. Some of these people that I'm going to be mentioning that are speakers have been my guests on this show, so you're probably going to know who they are. But the first year we did it, this is our third year. The first year, our keynote speaker was a grandson of Mahatma Gandhi, Arun Gandhi, and he's one of my authors. And that was a fantastic first conference. The second one, last year, we had PMH Atwater, who is the world's foremost expert on the near-death experiences, and she was our keynote last year. This year, we've got some very unusual speakers here, so I want to go down and talk about these before this is my main focus tonight anyway, is to talk about the conference. It's going to be next weekend. It is, get the dates here for sure, June 13th to the 15th. That's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, June 13th through the 15th at the Scallion Inn in Fayetteville. And you can get more information about the address and where it's going to be. And we're going to do half a day on Friday, the entire day Saturday, and till about half a day, till 5 o'clock on Sunday. And it's very reasonable. We're only charging $75 for all 3 days if you do it in advance. At the door, it'll be $90. And we also have 1 day tickets if people are interested in that. But it's next weekend, June 13th through the 15th, here in Fayetteville, Arkansas. Okay, let me talk a little bit about the speakers. One is highly unusual because he never speaks anywhere anymore. This is Gordon Michael Scallion. And when I talked about this at the conference in Laughlin, Nevada a few months ago, people said, boy, that's a name from the past. Because some of these newcomers probably don't even know who he is. But he was very, very powerful speaker, very well known for many, many years, Gordon Michael Scallion. He doesn't like to be called a psychic. He calls himself a futurist. But we first met way back in the beginning when we were just both starting out in the early 90s, when we were both starting out and we were going to conferences together and he was speaking. But in his early days, I believe he said in the 70s, he had some near-death experiences that completely changed his life and opened up these psychic abilities to where he was seeing clients, he was traveling all over the world. It was just he was becoming very, very famous. The main thing you might remember about him is that his map that he made, it was a map of the United States, and he also has a map of the world as it's going to look after the shift. In those early days, I had my map from the Nostradamus books. He had his, and Lori Toy had her books. And we were all speaking at the same conferences showing the maps. Everybody was very concerned about the coming shift of the world, what parts of the continent would be safe, which areas would be left above water. So there was a great deal of interest at that time. And so he produced this map with the help of his psychic abilities and his guides. And it's very well known. It's a very, very detailed map of which areas will be left of the United States after this shift, if it occurs, which we hope it won't be as bad as the people predict. But he became very famous for that map, and he was selling it everywhere. And he also came up with one of the world. So he was very busy doing all of this, traveling like we all were, doing lectures and conferences and everywhere. Then all of a sudden, he became a recluse. He lives in New Hampshire, and he says his house is built into the side of the mountain. He has an organization. It's the Matrix Institute, and they're very active with his predictions. He's still making predictions. He had newsletters that went out. I think he's still doing that, of all of his predictions of what's going to happen. But he suddenly decided he wasn't going to travel anymore. He wasn't going to leave home anymore because he told me, he said, if you could see what I could see, you wouldn't leave your house either. Now, that sounds a bit ominous, but he has seen a lot of things that could happen to the world. So he has his company, his Matrix Institute. He has a TV studio set up at his house and a radio studio. So he's still active in broadcasting and sending out his predictions. But he's just not traveling. He's not leaving his house. So because we're old friends, I called him and I said, he's also been on this show. And Don, the one who runs the the BBS, said that was very, very rare. He thought it was really a tremendous show when he came on the air. But I called Gordon, and I told him about our conference, and I asked him, is there any way you can do something with us? And he said, oh, sure, I'll help you out, no problem at all. Because I remember years ago when I did Annie Kirkwood's conference in Dallas, he did it by a satellite. That for his TV studio in his house, they broadcast by satellite onto a big screen. So, but he said, oh yeah, but nowadays that's nobody does that anymore. That was the way they did it in the beginning. Now it's all done via the internet. So he's agreed to, we're going to do it through the miracle of cyberspace. He's going to be broadcasting into the auditorium with the webcam, and we're going to be projecting it on the huge screen, and he's going to be able to interact with the audience and answer any questions that they have. He'll be talking about the future, the things he sees, and he'll be answering the questions. So it will be interactive, just as though he is sitting right there. This is very rare. He doesn't do this and very often at all. But he did say he wants to keep the questions focused on the future of the United States, of the world, and on the environment. He's very concerned about the environment, so he wants to focus on those subjects. You know, we don't want somebody asking him, will I marry Joe or Tom, or will I get a divorce, or will I get a new job? That's personal things. He would rather focus on the world, the environment, the situations going on everywhere. He has a great deal of knowledge. So this is going to be a very rare occasion to see Gordon at this conference. He's our keynote speaker. Now I'm going to quickly run down some of the other ones, but this is very rare. Now Nancy Talbot is also going to be a keynote speaker, and she's been on this show too. But her work has taken a very dramatic turn. For many years, I've known her also for 20 years. All these people I've known for so long. She's a crop circle investigator, and we always considered her to be different than all the other crop circle investigators because she was more scientific. She went after looking for the proof, and she would take the grains and have them analyzed by scientists. She has a very analytical, scientific mind. So she's been doing this for many years, and she's been a speaker at our conference in Eureka Springs, the UFO conference. She goes about every year. But now her work has taken a highly dramatic turn, and this is what she's going to focus on at this conference. She met a young man in Holland who was able to, has highly developed psychic abilities, and he was able to tell in advance when the crop circles were going to be formed. So we had her go out, and she was able to witness the crop circles being formed and get photographs. But something very strange began happening. This young man was able to take photographs of people who had died and crossed over. And the photographs were as clear as a picture. They were not fuzzy white masses. These were pictures that were just as clear as a person standing there. And so she began doing this with him and taking pictures. She has pictures that will blow you away. Because she said, she was explaining it at the talk, but the one that really convinced her was when she just was pointing the camera at the crop circle, and when it was developed, there was her brother, who had died a few months before, standing there, just as clear as if he was alive. This convinced her. After that, they began experimenting, and they have wonderful pictures of people that have crossed over. They have pictures of ETs that appeared, the aliens that have appeared in the crops and circles, and these are pictures that they've never been seen. At the UFO conference in April, she was showing a lot of them that were blowing people away, and at the end of the conference, she said She had just returned from Holland again, and she said, I've got a whole lot of new photographs that no one has seen that are even better than the ones she showed there. And she said, I'm saving them for Dolores Cannon's conference because this will really blow you away. Picture of actual ETs, of people who have crossed over, they are mind-boggling. So she is going to be showing this. She's going to do a 2-hour talk, and it will be a lot of it focused on her photographs that she has taken. So see, here's a woman with a scientific mind, an analytical mind, everything is changing for her, and she's going off into this, but with this analytical perspective. So I think this is important. So she's our other keynote. Now, we were going to have Aaron and Doris Abramson, who many of you have known. We published them, and Aaron had been doing psychic readings since the 70s. He did the Akashic readings, the Akashic records, and where he could go back to the Akashic records and look up the person's past lives. Well, we have produced a CD of how you can do this yourself, and we had intended for them to come, Doris and Aaron, and lead the entire audience through going back to the Akashic records and being allowed to see their own past lives. But in the last few months, Aaron is in his 80s. He has survived a very serious stroke to where he had to learn how to speak all over again. And coming to these things gave him new life. But his health, he said, both of them is deteriorating so bad that he didn't think he would come. And he's very disappointed about it. So, but in order not to disappoint the audience, we found another woman who lives near here in Missouri. Her name is Marilyn Harper, who is a speaker and a psychic, and she says she knows how to take the people to see the Akashic records and to view their own. So she is going to conduct the same kind of a trip to the Akashic records that Aaron was going to do. But we will also have on sale his CD of how he does it so everyone can do this themselves. So that's one we had to change. The next one I'm going to tell you about is Justine Alessi. She is a real doll. She is such an entertainer. She has come every year, and she does take personal appointments. But Justine Alessi is a master with the tarot. We have done her book. We published her book, and she is so accurate. She reads the audience. I mean, she's a definite entertainer. She reads the entire audience when she's there. And I've had her do readings for me for the last 3 years since she's been published, and she is highly accurate. And she's very funny. She's a very good entertainer. So she's going to be there and also taking personal readings. Then another one of our speakers is Ron Chapman. I had him on the show. It was my last show before I went to the last class. His book was called Seeing True, and it's like a workbook where he's able to make people look at themselves and be able to see things that are happening within himself. And he's going to be the one that kicks off the entire conference on Friday. So his book is very interesting, too. I'm trying to go through this quickly because I'm watching the clock here. Then we have Dorothy Leon, and her book is called, strangely enough, is Jehovah and E.T. Now, this woman has a religious background, and she has formed her own organizations. And her book, I was fascinated with it when I agreed to publish it because she goes into the ideas of the Old Testament and how they talk about Jehovah as not being a person, not being a God per se, but like being ETs that came down and lived among people of earth when they were first forming. You know, the same idea that Zechariah Sitchin came up with. But she breaks down the Old Testament to show how she says that these really were they were not human. They were physical beings. They were not gods. And it's very fascinating where her theories have come from. And the reason I published the book was her tremendous amount of research. Her book is Jehovah and E.T. is full of footnotes and reference points to where she not only refers to the Bible, but to Manly Hall's works, all the experts in the field, to get you thinking in a different direction. And most of these speakers, that's what it's all about, to get you thinking anyway, to open your mind and just get you thinking in another way. So she's going to be here. This is her first time to come. And we're having one returning who is a big favorite, is Carol Pate. Carol Pate wowed them last year. Carol Pate is a professional psychic, and she has appeared on the Court TV Psychic Detectives. And she's on several other shows where she's done so many shows, but the main one is she's a regular on Court TV's Psychic Detectives. And last year we showed a copy of one of the shows where she had helped solve a serial murder case. Carol, amazingly enough, she has had psychic abilities since she was a child, and she solves, or I don't say solves, but she works on at least 300 to 500 murder cases a year. She said she works on at least 5 a day. She was called in on her first murder case when she was only 12 years old. And I wouldn't want these abilities because she said she sees the murder case from the eyes of the victim and also from the eyes of the killer. And she has all the emotions and feelings that go with that. She said she's been she's been strangled and shot and knifed and everything. And she goes through the entire emotions of the victim and the perpetrator. I wouldn't want to have that kind of ability. But she's a fascinating speaker, and she'll be talking about a lot of her cases that she works on. And also, she has been to Egypt. She is works with the archaeologists over there. She's helping them to locate the tunnels underneath the Sphinx, and she's been down in them, and she has fascinating things to talk about. So Carol Pate is returning again. Okay, a few more here. Don Shorn, I had him on the show a few weeks ago, and he, I think, is a wonderful discovery that we have made with our company. The first book that we have published of his is the Elder Gods of Antiquity, and he has written 3 in this series, and the Elder Gods of Antiquity has taken off like crazy. I fully expect Don Shorn to replace Zecharia Sitchin. Now, I like Zecharia Sitchin. I know him. He's a friend of mine. But Don Shorn has gone beyond what Zecharia has found, and I don't mean that as a discourtesy. Don Shorn has spent many, many years researching and going all the way back to the beginning of the earth and finding out about the possibilities of ETs visiting here. He comes up with proof, dates and names and everything from his research that cannot be argued with. He finds things in museums. At his sequel that we have signed him up for, and I've already proofread it, in that one he found tablets, or I guess are scrolls that are only one of a kind in the world. He said has never ever been written about, that back up all these theories of the elder gods and the seeding of the planet Earth, and how there were people here long, long before the scientists say there was. So Don Shorn is going to be giving a talk, and we will be doing the rest of his books. So these are fascinating people. And then we have Toni Trimble, who has also been on my show. She's the animal psychic. And if you want to, she works with all of the main ranches down in Texas, where they have hundreds of horses, and she goes in and communicates with the horses to find out what is wrong with them, to tell the owners so they can tell the veterinarian what to do. This is her main thing, is working with the ranchers in Texas. But she also communicates with any type of animal, and she can tell you what's wrong with them, anything about them. If anyone wants to come to the conference and bring pictures of your pets, she'll be able to tell you information about just by looking at the picture. But also, she is able to communicate with pets that have crossed over, which is another fascinating aspect. So she will be able to, if you have pictures or anything, she's going to be able to talk to the people who come in. So we're not only having ghosts of people, we're having also about pets that have crossed over. So we're covering the entire range of everything that could possibly happen. So these are very fascinating speakers. Now let me see if I got them all now. Oh, there's one more. And this one we just found out about, who lives up in Missouri. Gosh, I don't even know if I can pronounce his name. We just found out about him because he was so close and asked him to come, and we didn't realize he was so famous. Dale Kaczmarek, I think you would pronounce it, Kaczmarek. If I'm not pronouncing it right, I'm sorry. Dale Kaczmarek. He's the president of the Ghost Trackers, and he has been doing research on ghosts and like the Joplin spook lights, all of those things for many, many years. He has appeared on Oprah, Encounters, Sightings, The Other Side, all of these big shows. The Discovery Channel, they called him in to help them making anything dealing with ghosts and with phantoms. And part of what he's going to be talking about is to show you how you can take pictures of ghosts. So here we are going along with what Nancy Talbot's going to do with taking the pictures. He is going to be showing it how you can do this also. And he's going to be exploring about the spook lights and the different things that are in this area. But anybody who's interested in ghosts, these are all very unique opportunities. This man has been doing this for many, many years, and he's the president of these different organizations dealing with ghosts. His website is the Ghost Research Society. So this ought to be very fascinating. He said he can talk on so many different things, so we're trying to have him talk on other things besides what the other speakers are going to do. But I'm sure he's going to be answering questions about anything you could think of. And then the last speaker of the group is me. I don't ever talk about myself, but because it's my conference, I'll be here talking too. And I'll be doing 2 talks, one on life after death, what happens when you die and where you go afterwards. And then I'll be speaking on the new earth and how we're moving into all of this. And on one of the nights, we're going to have a panel of all of the speakers and let everyone ask them questions. So here again, I think it's going to be a fascinating conference. There's some really wonderful speakers, and many of them are one of a kind, like Gordon Michael Scallion. So if you're interested in this, contact the website, because if you pay beforehand, it's only $75. And our website, again, is www.Ozark Mountain, OZARKMT.com. And it's next weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, the 13th, 14th, and 15th. And if you pay at the door, it's going to be $90. But also, if for some reason you can't come and you would still like to know what's going on, we have the whole conference is professionally videotaped. And we do sell the videos after the conference is over. So if you go through the website or call our 800 number, we can also order the CDs. No, this will be DVDs after the conference. And people have been ordering them from the last 2 conferences also. So anyway, we're going to have a really exciting 3 days. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, 13th, 14th, and 15th of June, at the Clarion Inn in Fayetteville, Arkansas. Man, I think I'm coming down to the wire here when I'm going to have to get off. I hope a lot of you didn't disconnect when I was disconnected anyway. All right, so I'm going to call it a night. I'm still getting caught up on jet lag anyway when I travel from one coast to the other and back again. But I did want to promote the conference because I think this is going to be a very good thing. Like ghosts, mysteries, psychics, about everything you could possibly want. All right, so I hope I see you there next week. So for tonight, that's everything. So good night, everybody.
If you enjoyed the show, check out more of our other videos and be sure to subscribe and click the like button. Thank you for listening to the Metaphysical Hour with Dolores Cannon.